Welcome to Will It Work. I'm Kevin. Today we're going to look at the Odyssey 2100. Now, we have not looked yet at the Odyssey 3000 and the Odyssey 4000, but we will. I want to do them sequentially by numbered. And you'll notice that this one is a Philips Odyssey versus a Magnavox. That's because Philips bought Magnavox somewhere around 1975. And they used the Magnavox name in the United States because for some reason the Philips name, they couldn't use it in the United States for certain things. That's not true anymore, as far as I understand it. But back then, things were a little bit weird when it came to trademarks and such. Not that it's any unweird today. This is probably, well, you know, okay. So this is a European unit, right? And that's why it's Philips. And basically what you had was this interesting thing where we've looked at most of the American units except the 3000 and the 4000. And those are still based on the AY38500 series of chips. The 4000, which we'll see, is kind of the last in line. And we'll talk about that when we get there. And it has a large number of games that you can play on it. 2100 actually, I believe, came after that because there's a 2001 that came out in Europe, and it was basically modeled after the 4000, and it had a different selection of games and it had a different microchip in it. Now, I don't own a 2001. I don't recall seeing one for sale. If they're out there, you know, I don't even know if I'd bother getting it at this point. So burned out on Pong systems. There's also an Odyssey that's a TV. I think it's modeled like a 4300 and something. It's just a television with an Odyssey 300 built into it. I don't have one of those. It's not a big deal. I mean, if I found one for free, I would, but it's not worth the shipping. Since, and you know, an Odyssey 3 is again an AY38500. We've seen a bazillion of those systems. But these Philips ones, the 2001 and the 2100. Now the 2001 used the National Semiconductor MM57105 chip, and this one used an MM57186N chip. This plays 6 games with multiple variants. Wipeout, which is breakout style, has 7 variants. Flipper, 7 variants. Tennis, 2 variants. Handball, 2 variants. Ice hockey, 2 variants. And football, 3 variants. Probably most of them will look just like Pong. But the breakout one, that might be interesting to see how that looks, or if it's just, you know, handball against the wall. Now this system came out in 1978, again out in Europe. And that was the same time that Magnavox eventually released the Odyssey 2, which also came out in 1978. And so, yeah, this was basically the end of the line for Pong. And this was the final one. Now, it won't be the final one we look at. We'll look at the 3000 and the 4000. But this is going to probably be the top end of what was possible, especially in Europe. Now, once again, this is a PAL unit, I'm pretty sure. I can tell by the connector on it. And I'm pretty sure it's probably going to be UK, which I'm hoping for, because that's PAL I, and I've had a little bit of success getting PAL I in properly lately. So I'm going to put some batteries in it, wire it up. We'll see if we can get a display. And we'll go from there. Now, if I can't get a display, which sometimes happens with these ones from overseas, we'll come back here and we'll talk about it a little bit and what might be wrong with it, or whether I could just not get it tuned in. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I spent about an hour tinkering with this thing. This one's kind of difficult because it doesn't have any kind of an LED or anything to sort of tell you that it's working or not working, etc. So I had to get out the voltmeter and take a look, and I was getting voltage and everything. And you know, like I said, it's definitely a console from Europe / / possibly the UK. And I was kind of hoping it was from the UK because even though there's different PAL standards for television frequencies, the UK has one, and then other countries in Europe have different ones. And that makes it really kind of difficult to tune things in here. And what I noticed is there's a jumper switch here that switches it between channel 3 and channel 4, right? So right off the bat, I'm thinking, okay, well, that means it's probably not from England or the UK, because they use UHF, and it would probably be over there, probably on channel 36 or something. That's what we kind of see normally. But I did go in and I tried looking at channel 3 and channel 36 and channel 4 and basically every channel. No picture. But I was getting power. Unfortunately, I couldn't even get sound, and normally I can get to a channel, and if I don't get a picture, I can at least hear it, and then I'm kind of I know I'm on the right area of the frequency, but I wasn't getting that either. And so that gets me really kind of stumped, because I don't really know what I'm dealing with here, and I don't know what it's designed for. But here, let me close it up. Now there's a sticker over here that you can't really see, but it's okay, I'll just tell you what's on it. Now there's of course patents for the United States on here, and it's made in the United States, which is weird. However, then you get to Belgium and the Netherlands and the Switzerland, and I'm not sure what Zverigi is. I'm thinking maybe that's possibly Dutch or something, like the Netherlands or something. But yeah, so it's probably for some other European territory. It's not for the United States. I mean, I tried channel 3, channel 4, and I can also tell you that just by looking at the adapter, right? These weren't sold in the United States as far as I'm aware, and the RF adapter, the antenna adapter, again, is that funky one that goes into a standard, like this here is a switch box from Europe. It has the sort of an RCA jack looking thing, so that can't plug into the back of your TV because you have that screw kind. But it would normally go into one of these two ends here, and it does, right? But yeah, so I have a TV, and I linked it straight up into there now with the PAL, and I wasn't able to get a signal from it. So I just don't know what channel this is supposed to operate on, because there are, on the circuit board, there's some tuning things, so you can kind of graduate the tuning around it and kind of tune it into the channel that you want it to get to. But I simply don't know. I don't. One of the struggles with this whole thing is that, in the United States, it's very well defined that game consoles are on channel 3 and channel 4. And for the most part, Japanese do sort of the same thing, except that, when we have to tune them in, it's more in the 900 or the 95, channel 95 area up there. But Europe and England, man, it's weird. I'm not sure how this all worked over there. It's a bit baffling. I've looked things up online, and I just don't quite understand it. I really feel like it's something where they plug these units into their televisions, and then they sort of tuned around on the dial until they got a picture, and it could have been any old channel. But that's just the way I seem to understand it. I have seen documentation that says channel 36. I've also seen things where channel 36 is this weird channel over there, and I don't know. But anyway, I couldn't get the 2100 to work. I'm going to keep it, though, and I'm going to count it in the collection, because I do feel it works. I just feel like it works, in a very specific region of the world, and unfortunately I don't know what that is. But eventually I'll probably, find someone that's familiar with this enough, or I'll find a website that's familiar with it enough that they were able to tune it in, and, depending on what region they were in, and then I could understand a little bit better about where this particular one was from, and then maybe look into trying to get it to work at some point in the future. But it's not a big deal. It's just a Pong system. Alright, well anyway, that's the Odyssey 2100. Sorry I couldn't get it to work for you, but yeah, that's the whole nature of what we're doing here on the show. Thanks for watching.